look at pivot tables. These are a very interesting feature of Excel. It's a very, very powerful tool. And previously, we had looked at how to summarize data using descriptive statistics and histograms. These are actually, although commonly used tools, they're very clumsy in Excel and in many other software packages. Whereas pivot tables, we can do very similar operations and do more complex types of analyses as well with it. So let's go to the data set we had before and recall this is a survey of somewhat over 800 students that was done 10 years ago, but asked them a huge range of different sorts of issues. And last time I think we were looking at what were their salary expectations 2 years after graduation. So first off, let's create a pivot table. So we're currently in a table in Excel, and I picked one cell, doesn't matter which one. Go up to Insert, then it says Pivot Table. It identifies my table that I had. If I didn't have it in a table, normally Excel will identify the top left corner and the bottom right corner of my pivot table. Make sure that that's identified appropriately up here. Like a table, with a pivot table, every column has to have a unique name. It's there, each one is a field, just like we have in a table. So if you don't have it in a table, make sure every column has a name that's unique. Click OK. So I get this big blank screen. I'm going to make it somewhat bigger so I can show the pivot table. Over on the right-hand side, you have 5 boxes. One of them is each of the different variables that I've got. Got this long list here. I've got one box that says filters, and this will be filtering just like we can do within a table, but it's different. Then I have the columns I'm going to have in a table. This is a table with rows and columns, so it's columns. What am I going to put in the rows, and what am I going to summarize in the body of the table? So to get ourselves started, let's go and take program. Where am I? Program. So I've got program here, and drag it, just highlight it, drag it over to rows and drop it in. So there are my programs: arts, business, engineering, other, science, and ones that didn't give me an answer. They've been coded as not applicable. Okay. Now, let's go over here to gender and put it in the columns. So I've got 3 columns here: blanks, female, and male. And then I'm going to go to salary, and I'm going to bring it down into the bottom corner. And I get all of these really big numbers. And they're really, really big numbers because, as you can see down in the bottom right corner, it says sum of salary. That's not what we want. So go and click on that, and you'll find some options come up. And one of them is value field settings. And this is something you're going to use frequently. Get used to clicking on this. So I get a table here that has, it says here, summarize values by, and it says sum. I don't want sum. I want the average salary. And it also gives me number format. And I'm going to format my numbers for this. That these are currency. These are dollars. So let's call it currency. And I don't need decimal values. Dollars are quite enough. And click OK. And then click OK. And so here we get our summary. So we've got the average salary for female art students, business students, engineering. That's really high. We'll look at that in just a minute here. Other and not applicable, do we really need those? No, we're probably not going to study them. I can drop them out. And the ones with haven't given me the gender, let's drop them out. I don't know how to deal with them. Okay. So I got a nice table here. But engineering really looks strange. That it's females expect to earn $350,000 on average. Something seems to be wrong here. Remember that when studying averages, the precision, the accuracy of our estimate of average depends upon how big my sample is. And bigger samples, I'm going to find that I get more accurate answers. So maybe I've just got very few people here. Go to salary again and drag it down to values. Okay, now again, I got sum. I don't want sum of salary. I want to know how many I've got here. I'm going to call it count. Okay, see, there's my problem. I've got many arts and business females and science females, but only 2 in engineering. And even among males, I've only got 8 in engineering. This is really too small a group to do comparisons on. I can be thrown off by a small number of odd values can distort it. So what I could do, so engineering and science are sort of the same. Let's take the 2 of them. So I've highlight both. Now I right click and I go down here and I say group. It creates different groups. There's an arts group with just arts, a business group with just business, and group 1 with engineering and science combined. If you click the minus sign, it'll collapse the group. You can collapse this one, and I can collapse this one. But it's a bad name, so I can go and change the name. I can call this science plus, where's my plus sign here? Can't see my keyboard. Plus engineering. Okay, so that like a better table. And now I can start doing some comparisons between males and females, and looks like generally between males and females earn less than males or expect to, um, except in science and engineering, where it seems to be the reverse. But if you recall, we had some very strange data. We had some numbers that were unusually large and some that were unusually small. So maybe I've got some other problems in here. And maybe what I should be doing is taking out some of these strange values. So let me take salary once again. I can grab it many times. I'm going to put it now down here into salary, into the filters group. Okay? And then I can go up here to the top left corner, and it lists all the different values that I've got here. Unfortunately, the filter isn't as flexible as filtering in a table. So it just gives me the list, and I've got to take out the ones I don't. So I'm going to go and say I'm going to take out these really low values. These are crazy low. How far do I want to go down? That maybe we'll go and pull out all the values that are between, what do you think, 10,000 and say 20,000. These are very strange. Just minimum wage, we should be getting more than 20,000. And these ones at the top, these are crazy. Let's take out the ones above 120. And I'll take out the blanks. Click OK. There. So now it's getting a little busy. I don't need to know this count anymore. Let me take it out. Keep your table as simple as you can. So there we see females expect to earn $3,000 to $4,000 less than males in arts. In business, it's about the same. And in science, it's a little bit more, but it's still quite substantial. So these sorts of things look interesting in terms of the differences that we are seeing in those sorts of things. That let's look at some other changes then. Now let's take out program. You'll notice here that when I combined things, it created a new variable called program3. That's my group data. So I can throw that out. See it splits it up again. I can throw this out. And I'd like to look at parental education, and that it may be that parents that are highly educated expect their children to earn an awful lot more, and those with low education have low expectations. Maybe that's what we're looking at. I don't know. But we're just exploring our data. Again, we get all kinds of things, but you wonder how many have we got here? And let's go back and look at some of our counts again. Sum of salary, I want count. So I look at count of salary. And again, I got some really small groups. I'm going to get rid of the not sure, don't know. I don't know what to do with them. So take those ones out. And the ones with a doctorate, a master's, and professional, they're, well, the professional mainly and the doctorate are the smallest groups. Let's move them into masters and call these all advanced degrees. So what I could do here is I could do grouping again. I could pick doctorate. I hold down my control key and click on masters, and then I click on professional, and I right click. I get group. And so it's put those three all together. I'm going to call this advanced, and then I'm going to collapse my groups. Oops, well, minus sign. And now my sample sizes are a reasonable size. I like samples of at least 30, preferably about 50, but I don't need the counts anymore. These are enough that I should get reliable data, I think. But the order of them, I've got bachelor's, college, advanced, and high school. You have to understand that parental education is an ordinal variable. There's a rank order to these. So really, high school should be at the beginning. So click on high school, right click, go down here and select move, and move high school to the beginning. There it goes. And then college education is above or below master or bachelor's education. So let me select it, go down to move, and I'm just going to move it up one space. There we go. So I get high school, college, bachelor's, advanced. You can also move columns around, but it doesn't matter here. So now I see that as the education level of the parents goes up, for females, salary expectations stay basically the same, and salary expectations for males, yeah, they go up and down, but I'm still seeing gaps between men and women. So this is, again, an interesting sort of variable that you may want to explore. That Now let me try one more thing in exploring these. So let me throw these things back again. And I'm going to look at year of study. Do first year students give me different answers than fourth year students? Again, I'm going to throw out the not applicable. This one again is an ordinal variable, and because it's numbers, Excel knows enough to sort them. With text variables or text labels, it sorts them alphabetically, and that's where we got our confusion before. So with this one, it looks like first year students expect more than fourth year, a lot more here, and in both males and females, and we still got this salary gap that we've got between the two, especially certain years. I don't think there's a sample size issue here, but we could have gone and checked that. I'm going to skip that at the moment. I do want to point out certain things, though. Look over here. So I excluded the not applicable, remember? Okay. So I've done some filtering. It doesn't show up here in my filter, but it shows up here. It's got a little funnel, and that shows me I selected only some of them. And in program, it threw out other and not applicable as well. I did that earlier. Well, that filter is still there because I haven't taken it off. I've got a filter on salary. Yes, I knew that. I got that. I've got a filter on gender. Remember, I took the blanks out. Well, that's right. That column's missing. And this little thing up here tells me I've done some filtering. And parental education. Oh, again, I threw out the not sure ones. So that program and these ones here where they're uh, new variables I created by merging things together. It's showing that they're filters. So be careful that even though I'm not looking at program or um, that parental education anymore, I've got those filters on that I didn't really realize were there. Looking at the table, it does provide some interesting information, but many people have difficulty interpreting numbers and tables, and these ones are busy with lots of digits and the dollar signs and so on. So for some, they would much prefer a simple graph. And if we're in the Analysis tab, Analyze tab of a pivot table, you've got Pivot Chart. It suggests doing a column chart. I can do other charts as well. This is a clustered column chart. Click OK. Puts it there beside me. And it's columns by year 1, 2, 3, 4. And then these columns here become pairs that I've got, clusters. And so it clusters by what the column labels are. And then the horizontal axis is based upon what the row labels are. And from this, it highlights blue versus orange. Males expect more than females. And I've got a slightly downward sloping trend, at least for males, of salary expectations, that they're very high at the beginning, and by the time they graduate, maybe they're somewhat lower. So this conveys it quite easily. This is a chart. I could add a title to here. It's even got some of my filters that are here. I could go and add the blank people, the ones without a gender. They're show up as now my blue column, and males become my gray column, females become my orange ones. So it does change some things around. But I can flip things around. If I was to go in here and take out gender, that disappears from my table. And if I brought in parental education, like I had before, I could make them clusters. So there are all kinds of neat things we can do. So next video, we'll look at what we can do with these charts and look at other types of data that you may wish to summarize. Yay, good. Take care. See you again.